Now then, people, welcome back to the Just Your Football Show, and it's time for another Leeds United update. I was supposed to be doing a transfer video today with James Marshman from Team Talk, with it being Friday, of course, the regular slot on that video. However, this morning, the interview broke, an interview that was done by Andrea Radrizzani with The Athletic concerning everything Leeds United, talking Bielsa, transfers, you know, stadium, all that sort of stuff. And we will go through it all. The reason I said to James, I said, you know what, James, there's no point in us doing that transfer video because from it, I believe we're done. Okay, we'll get a goalkeeper in, but he's a third choice goalkeeper. He's going to sit on the bench. What does it really matter? And it's not Ben Foster, it's Robles. So, yeah, I'm not really that fussed. Those that say, well, we're not done, we're getting a goalkeeper, that's your prerogative, that's fine. I'm just not that cool about it. As you can see, I don't have my background on because when I have my background, due to my green screen, this top goes on a bit of a madness, right? I'll show you just so you can see. I disappear. I disappear due to the colours, right? So I thought I would go without it so you could enjoy the new kit in all its glory. It does look quite nice in person, yeah? Looking like a piece of Stilton, says Steve. I hear that. But it's nice. I'll buy them regardless. It looks nice, I think, in person. I think it's sweet as a nut, sweet like Tropicana. I have calmed down a little bit. I can't lie to you. When I first seen the Radrizzani interview, I was fuming. I wasn't happy. I'm still not. But we'll have a talk of it. And I want to hear your opinions as well. I want to get your comments in and see how you read the interview. Yeah. Chris says, how have you got the shirt so quick, mate? I ordered it yesterday. It came today through the post, Royal Mail, man. Through the door. It weren't even a knock job. It was posted through the letterbox. Happy days, right? There's a lot of people that have got them. So if you ordered it, go on your email, click the link, and it'll tell you. It told me mine was coming today. Came through the door with the normal letters. So nice, yeah, I really like it. But we are going to go through loads. I am just going to quickly post on social media that I am live, so people can come and join and get involved in the chat. In order to help that as well, please do smash a like on the video, yeah? Subscribe to the channel, get your comments in and all that sort of jazz. So please do that because the more likes you get, the algorithms, people come in, etc., etc. So, yeah, please do that for me. It'd be greatly appreciated if you could. We've got 31 at the minute. Let's get some more. Shirt looks sharp, says Michelle. Thank you very much. Doronto. There we go. Nottingham Forest fan says, what's going on, Joe? See you soon, bro. I need to speak to him, man. We need to get you a regular fixture on my Premier League show. If you want to send me a message, mate, and you're free on Fridays and Mondays, get involved because Dor's a little legend. Back from the Championship days when we used to do content together. And now we're both in the Prem, man. I love to see it. Big up, Dor. Although I hope Jesse Lingard flops. Sorry. I do think Forest will stay up, and I hope you stay up. I'm just not on board with that Jesse deal. But it is what it is. Right, so we're going to talk about this, okay? We're going to talk about Radrizzani's interview, right? We're going to talk about his thoughts on Bielsa, his comments on Jesse, and then we're obviously going to talk about Raphinha and Calvin, and then we're going to get into the juicy bits about why I'm so frustrated, because it feels to me like the club are going to run the gauntlet again. I said to you yesterday in the live press conference video, I basically said this. I called it. I claimed it. I said that I think at that time, the way Jesse was speaking, that if Strauch can do okay at left back till Firpo's back, and Bamford starts the season firing in them first 5 games, remember, I'm like a broken record. I did say this to you. If we get a decent points return in them first 5 games and Bamford's scoring, the club won't do jack for me. And this interview confirmed it. I think this interview confirmed it. People disagree with me. That's fine. You know, I've seen some comments say, nah, I said we're still active. I mean, come on, I can say we're still active. Whether we'll do a deal, I don't know. I said to you before, why haven't we got Cali yet? Why aren't you here? The deal can be done. Not here. The club aren't convinced. You know, the club aren't convinced. Why haven't we got a left back? Come on, it's not hard to get a left back, people. It's criminal for a Premier League club to have one recognised left back. That's it, like one. Have we not learned from our mistakes? Have we not learned? Did we not rectify the centre midfield issue? Did we not do that last season and said Forshaw will be all right and it nearly cost us? And now in this system, like in the Bielsa system, the centre was so vulnerable at times. In Jesse Marsch's system, the vulnerability comes from the fullback areas. We only have one. And let's be honest, my opinion, he ain't great. He will be suspended and he's already injured. But we're going to go strong. And look, we'll get more into that because I've got some really big opinions on it. I can't lie. Keep liking the video. Get your comments in. We're going to give you a quick update, first of all. Obviously, Costa's gone. Helder Costa's gone. He's gone to, is it Al Halil? I can't remember. I think he's linking back up with Nuno Espirito Santo. So Costa's gone. I think Matthias Klick's going to go. I think he's going to go to Utrecht. So Klick's going to go. Lewis Bates joined Oxford on a season-long loan. I found out today as well that we can recall him in January. There's a reason that is, just in case things go tits up in the centre midfield area. Klick goes. We're talking about bogus. Lewis Bates can come back in January if needs be as well. So they're making provisions for Klick's exit for me. Like Owen says, if Klick goes, we must replace him. We ain't, though. This is what I'm saying. Like, I don't... Listen, I need to calm down. But those that watch that interview and still can be positive about the rest of the window, I don't understand it. Maybe, like, when I read into that interview, my opinion is, yeah, we're not doing it. We're not doing it. I don't know. Obviously, we are going to see a signing in the door. Former Everton and Atletico Madrid goalkeeper Joel Robles is set to join us next week. Yeah, he's going to come in. But even that is underwhelming for me because, you know, if Ben Foster and that, I don't know. Joel Robles, though, look, he'll come in, he won't play, he's experienced, he's won things. He played in the FA Cup final for Wigan when they beat Man City. He'll be cheap, his wage will be cheap, you know, so there you go. Yeah, Leif Davis is gone, Riley. Leif Davis is gone. So we don't even have a left back fit anyway, right? Now, let's go back as well, right? Those that say, this is my observations, right? Those that are saying, oh, no, it's got to be the right deal, I get all that, right? But Jesse wants players. Jesse said he wanted a left back. 100%, he came out and said that. He said we're chasing a striker. He said this when in Australia before. He tells us he's got an interview with Radrizzani. Not an interview, a meeting, right? Check the difference in tone and conversation after that meeting with Radrizzani. The rhetoric's changed. He started to pour water on it. Oh, I don't really want to talk about transfers. He then started to talk about Strout being an adequate cover at left back and actually said Strout offers us a lot there. Started talking about how his positives are from set pieces and all that sort of stuff. So he's already saying, don't worry about left back. And then about the centre forward, he started to speak about Rodrigo and James. The rhetoric's changed because he wasn't saying that prior to this meeting, was he? They're the facts, people. He wasn't saying this. He said we want a left back. And now we're talking about Strauch and what he could do for us there. And we're talking about Rodrigo and James. Genuinely, my worry is, my main concern is, it sounds mad to say it, but we do well in August. Of course, I want us to do well in August, right? Knowing our luck, the transfer window will shut. The next game, Bamford will get injured. Like, I've been speaking to someone who does content this morning and saying, like, if we get into a situation where Dan James is starting up front again, we're up shit creek. We're in trouble. We're in trouble. You know? And this is the thing as well, and we'll talk about it. It comes back to that. Bielsa only likes square pegs round holes. It's all about Bielsa. We're hearing the same. It's the same things. People are saying it in the chat, square pegs round hole. I'm sick of it. Is it the coach's problem? Maybe not. Maybe not. I don't know. Listen, if Bamford stays fit, then we're good. We're good. I'm okay with that. but he can't be relied upon. Let's not forget, before Cagliari, and that has given me renewed optimism, the Cagliari performance and his movement and everything. But last season, he had like a calf issue. I did a video with Connor on his channel, and I remember reeling it off. He'd had a calf issue, he'd had an hamstring issue, he'd had all these different issues. It wasn't just one, it was a multitude of different issues. So he can't be relied upon for me. I hope he is fit, and if he is fit, will be good, and he gets into the England squad for me. I think he beats Watkins, you know, Dominic Calvert-Lewin's out. It's only in November. I think he might get in there as understudy to Calvin if he starts well. Like Chris says, still think we'll see more signings. I don't know how. But again, I hope to be proved wrong, and I'll look silly, and that's fine. But I can only give you what my opinion is now, and I can change my opinion later. You know, Peter Job says too many moaning. Well, I'm sorry. Like, people saw you being negative. I don't think it's being negative personally. I'm allowed to air grievances at what I think. Do I think the season will be good? Yeah, you know this. I think we'll be 14th. I think we'll do all right. But we are running the risk. That's my thing. Have we were told we've learned our lessons. I don't think we have. I don't think we have. Because, and this is the thing, right? The weakest area of the pitch last season was centre midfield, and we didn't address it, and we got a tweet saying Forshaw. This system, the weakest area is the fullbacks, and we've only got one, and he's not great, and he's going to be suspended, and he's already injured. Right back, we're okay. But left back, we're not. You know? And it's just the rhetoric. This is what I'm saying. For those that say we're going to get signings, okay, that's fine in your opinion, and you know you can back it all, right? Lee Martinez says, you shouldn't have grievances when they've spent 100 million. That has been spent for by sales. We've broke even, near enough. Calvin and Raphinha have gone. They have paid for the signings. There has been no money coming from anywhere external. You know, Robles is a free as well. So it's all good. It's all good saying you spent 100 million, but you've sold to get that. So you've broke even. So like Animally says there, the net outlay is 1 million. We've spent 1 million, bro. In reality, we've spent 1 million. So let's, you know, but this is, again, everyone's got different of opinions. Yeah, right. Okay, Ben, we'll talk about this. We'll talk about this. And I understand this. I do. There's money there in exceptional circumstances, right? Because this is what I'm saying. Everyone was battering the club for waiting on CDK, right? And saying, we're wasting our time. The reason they put the money on CDK, and this is my thought process, he's an exceptional talent. He gets brought in, and like he's been said in his interview, Radrizzani, I'll get, honestly, man, people. Right. CDK would have come into Leeds United. He would have done well, conceivable, and in a couple of seasons, he makes the club money, right? That 30 million or whatever we were going to spend on CDK, I agree, Ben, there's money there, should then be put out to bolster the squad. Go get a left-back with that money. Go get a striker with that money. But the club aren't going to do that because there's no resale value in it. There's no point. They think they can get by. The reason they were going to spend that big money on CDK is because it's exceptional circumstances. The kid is a baller. They really wanted him. He said that. Radrizzani thinks he could have got the deal done if he'd have actually gone out to Bruges and get it sorted. But he waited too long. He believes he could have get it done. But just because they now don't spend that doesn't mean they're then going to go, right, well, we'll just spend that elsewhere. because to them it might be seen as being wasted. You know, isn't it funny we hear about Shea Adams and we're hearing an article from Phil that there are other targets available, but they'll address the Shea one later in the window if others don't come available. I now read into this, and again, we're all guessing. Yeah, we're all guessing. That's what this is, right? We're all guessing. That says to me, I think, right, if Bamford doesn't make it through the first month and isn't doing well and breaks down, we'll go for Shea. It'd be cheap. It's doable. But then again, it might not even happen because Nottingham Forest are knocking at the door. You're right, Ben, right? Let's think about the deals that got done. Calvin went, we got them done quick, yeah? Like Radrizzani said, we had 6 targets and we got 5 of them. The one we missed was CDK, so that were their main targets. But now they got what they wanted. So had they got CDK, we'd definitely be not getting any. I think and left back we were never going to get if Firpo didn't get injured. You know, we said that. You know, Hjelde said that in an interview. We're not getting a left back. Then he gets injured. Jesse starts talking about it in Australia. And now after this interview, you know, boom. I'll get to the super chats as well that have come in, and I will answer them. Chat House says, "Are you on drugs?" Me? No. Thank you for that though. And Paul says, "No money for Raphinha yet." No, of course, but you speculate to accumulate, do you? Like they're spending money knowing they're getting that back. You know what I mean? They're not. Do you see what I'm saying? That when that money comes in, that it'll be to pay for what they've paid out. It's like with anything, right? Like that. I don't get that point. If you know you've got bank coming in, it's like when you borrow money off your mate, innit? I borrow a tenner off you, pal. I get paid next week. That's all that is. Do you know what I mean? Alex says, "What do you think's more important, left back or a striker?" I think a left back, but the club obviously don't. They don't, and that's fine. Chat House said, "Sorry, I love you." It's all right, bro. I love you too. I don't understand why you thought I was on drugs, though. What have I said that's wrong in this statement? I don't think I've said anything wrong. I don't think, anyway. But I think a left back, mate, is the most important. But like Jesse said, this is what I've said. Like Jesse was talking up Firpo's back. He's number one. Yeah, he's number one. Chris Kelly says football is bluffers' paradise. Wouldn't read too much into it personally, pal. Well, why? We've seen it before though. It's the same people. We heard the same stuff around the midfield stuff. It's the same people. That's why, you know. And I just think it's crazy that we might run that risk. You know, I don't know, like. Yeah, well, Chris about Firpo being number one, he said that though. Regardless of who we bring in, Firpo will be my number one choice. That's why I thought we'd go get a loan from a you know, a squad. I was told we inquired about Alvaro Fernandez at Manchester United. But even that, I don't know what's happened there because it sounds. Look, I think the meeting's gone ahead, right? And look at the rhetoric's changed. In his next press conference, Jesse don't want to talk about players. He did say, you know, every player would like more money. Every manager would like more money. But he said, I don't really want to talk about transfers. And then said, you know, at left back, we've got Strauch. He offers us so much there. He's good from set pieces and all that sort of stuff. So already spinning that yarn. And then the worrying thing is when he mentioned centre forward and he started talking about Rodrigo and James. People, like, that's not acceptable. Knowing how last season went, if we start any game this season with James up front, because it don't work. James doesn't even want to play up front. He said that. He can't be enjoying it there. You ever imagine that if he's not enjoying it and he's had them conversations and then he get told he's up front, he's like, I've got to play up front again, man. Chasing lost causes. You know, all that sort of stuff. So, I don't know. We shouldn't even be having to have a conversation about James and Rodrigo playing up front. We shouldn't, because we've had a window to rectify it. Look, we might, and I'll look silly, but I don't know. We'll see. Let's go into some more of the interview. Keep your comments coming in, and if you disagree, that's fine, and I'll address that. And if I disagree, but Tom said we might not be saying this if blooming Sinistero wasn't injured. We would though, because Sinistero don't play at left back and don't play striker. He does, you know. Even Everton. There was 2 clubs, right, that didn't have cover at left back, hence why Kurzawa was linked. Everton have Mikalenko, and now they've gone out and bought the other guy. The signing they've made anyway, who plays at left back. We've got one. We've let one go, which is criminal. We've got one, and he's injured. And guess what? Prior to him coming, he never played for about 2 years. Then when he come, he's broke down and got suspended a number of occasions. Vinegra, that's it. So what we doing? It's just like this is why I'm frustrated, and I don't understand people being okay with it, because we had the same situation with Forshaw. And look how much stick the guy took when he went Forshaw, you know. And now we've got a left back who we're hanging our hat on and saying he's number 1, but we know that he's not going to be fit, you know. And Stephen, we do still have funds. This is the thing, we do, right? Because we had money for CDK, but the club aren't going to spend it, in my opinion, unless we have exceptional circumstances. The club, for me, we should be starting the season with a left back and a striker on the bench. We should be, but we're not. So what we waiting on? Okay, so for me, as I said to you yesterday, even before this interview dropped, right? If we start the season well, just like we got by, so the club got by on Forshaw's fitness, right, in January, didn't they? And they said, you know what, now we're good. Forshaw's all right. So they're willing to run risks. We've seen it in the past, yeah? So then this season, for me, Firpo's coming back sooner than they expected. We said that. Phil Hay said that in the Phil Hay podcast. Yeah. So these players are coming back. So Firpo's back sooner than expected. So if Strout can get us through to Firpo being back and Firpo's okay, and we get to the end of window, we won't get a left back. We weren't going to get one anyway until Firpo broke down. Then the striker, if Bamford, let's say Bamford gets 5 goals in the first month. That's a lot, but let's say he gets 5 goals. And like I said yesterday, we get 9 points from a possible 15. The club will go, we're right, we're okay. And it might work, but I still think we need options there. People will throw out, and I've seen it on social media at me today, well, it'll stunt Joffrey's growth. I don't agree with that. I don't agree with that. So I don't think that's true, because Joffrey will come on like in dribs and drabs, and also can play alongside Paddy. Abel says the team already signed 7 players. You have Bamford, Gelhardt, and some players that can play as striker. Yeah, we don't want players that can play as striker though, because that's Rodrigo and James. That's the point. That's the point for me. That is the point for me. Like, what do you mean by this, Chris? You believe that when he's saying that we're assessing the market and that he's going to get a striker? Let's go into the interview. Yeah. Let's go into the interview, into the particulars, right? I've took some notes. I've made my notes and talking points on it, right? So we'll do that now after I've thing, and keep your comments coming in, and I'll star them and all that sort of stuff, and we'll do that. Abel, I don't want us to spend 30 million on a striker. I'm not saying that. I know people don't want him, but Shay Adams can be got for between 10 to 15. No, it does make sense, bro. It does make sense. I'm not asking us to go spend 30 million on a striker. By that logic, then, let's not get a striker and then what? And Bamford breaks down and say, oh, well, at least we didn't spend 30 quid. We can play James there because guess what? He's got a good return up front for Leeds. No, he hasn't. So what are we doing? You know, Ethan says in the chat, 20 million for Callum Owendo. Exactly. Just do them. There's players there. There's players available. I don't, you know, I'm not saying we need to spend 30 million because we don't. Transfer fee doesn't mean jack to me because people said this to me before. You know, we should be going out, you know, for a player that costs 30 million just because we bid 30 million. Well, no, we don't need to do that. We don't need to do that. It doesn't have to be 30 million because guess what? Our record signing was Gash, has been Gash, right? And a guy that we just sold, we paid 17 million for, Raphinha. Transfer fee doesn't mean it. You can go out and get players. You know, I think getting CDK for the price we'd have paid for him would have been a snip. And then he moves on to a bigger club. And this is why the club were willing to spend 30 million. Because there is resale value there. There is potential. He comes to Leeds United, he does well, he gets a big money move. But he's already had his move now at a cut-down price. Milan, he's jumped it. He's sound. Boom, straight in at Milan. Whereas we're hoping that he comes in and then makes a move to Milan or somewhere else, you know, maybe City or whatever. You know, because Radrizzani spoke about that. About us being a stepping stone as well, which I've said before, which I'm okay with. You know, and yes, Lee, yeah, I would. Lee, 100%. Yeah, 100%. This is what I'm saying. It doesn't have to be, right. Have you seen anything from him so far? And please don't say 3 goals against Cagliari. Did you see anything in the 12 games towards the back end of the season that leads you to believe that? And I'm sorry to say this, Bielsa improved players. And he didn't improve. He went backwards. Yeah, Abel. Yeah, I did. Like, what's your point? Of course I wanted CDK. For exactly the same reasons Radrizzani wanted CDK. The guy's exceptional. The guy will go to the top. He's been coined the next De Bruyne. He's no joke. He's killing it. He was killing it. Like, he's played for Belgium. Like, yeah, why? I don't. What's that point? There is no point to that. Yes, I did want him to come. I don't get that. Luke says, why are you hating on Rodrigo this season? I'm not hating on him, bro. I'm just giving you my opinion. Someone said that he'll improve under Marsch. Well, we've not seen it up to this point, so I don't understand. But again, football is a game of opinions. There you go. And the rhetoric's changed now, Junior, right? The rhetoric's changed. The rhetoric's changed after a meeting. The club's rhetoric's changed. Do you know what I mean? No, what? By the end, he was banging them in. Has he banged them in? Do you think Rodrigo's banged them in? Is that what he's done? I mean, he scored against the bottom 3. I think he scored against Burnley, didn't he? But has he been banging them in? Let's have a look. 7 goals in his first season, 6 last season in 26 and 31 games. Couple of them coming in against bottom 3. I don't know, and it's not even just his goals for me and Rodrigo. I don't think you can say he was banging them in. But we'll see. I hope I'm wrong. Like I say, I hope I'm wrong. Yeah, I hope I'm wrong. Of course I do. But I was just addressing a point where someone said that he'll improve. I've not seen that up to this point. 12 games is a long time in football, really, to see marked improvement. Yeah, exactly this. Yeah, it's wishful thinking. I suppose it's the same with Tyler. Like, some of us were like with Tyler. Yeah. This is a thing, innit? It's a gamble. It's a gamble. We gambled last season. It pulled off. Maybe they think that the improvement in the squad overall will move us up the table, which I think it will, but still gambling. Do you know what I mean? So, yeah. We will get a goalie. That's coming in next week on a 3. That's sound. Yeah. Well, Jano, he's not a Spain international. He's not a Spain international. He hasn't been in since his return at Leeds. He got called up on the provisional COVID squad and then gets sent home and hasn't played since. Why did Barcelona want him? Martin Braithwaite plays for Barcelona. Barcelona were in all kinds of mess now. Not anymore. They don't want him now, do they? Do they want him now? Because last time I checked, they signed Lewandowski. They've signed Raphinha. They want Bernardo Silva. They don't want Rodrigo. They're not knocking on the door anymore. They wanted him when they had like Braithwaite and them guys. So come on. Let's be really, Ajano. I mean, if you say that he's good, then fair enough. Like that's fine. But and listen, he could score a hat-trick and everyone will come for me, and I like that. I don't mind. Yeah, I don't mind. You know, I want him to do well. But, you know, come on. Anyway, let's get back to the interview. Keep your comments coming in, though, because, like I said, we've all got opinions, innit? Marcelo Bielsa, then. So we'll start with that. He spoke about this 500 people watching as well. Please do smash a like on the video if you can. We've got 156. If you could do that for me, that would be great. Right, okay. So, and actually, just on Rodrigo, if Sinisterra was fit, Rodrigo wouldn't even be in the starting 11. He wouldn't even be in your starting 11, folks. Would he? Where would he go? Because you'd have Harrison, you've had Sinisterra, and you'd have Aronson. So those that are staying all that, then I guarantee you, if Sinisterra was fit, he wouldn't even be starting. Because you'd have Aronson, Harrison, and Sinisterra. So where's that from? You know what I mean? So, anyway. Right, so Marcelo Bielsa, he spoke about the sacking. He spoke about the sacking of Marcelo Bielsa. And he said the moment that he started to have doubt about Bielsa was Villa. Villa, where we drew 3-3 back in February, if you remember. You know, that we were winning that game. And then I think he scored, they scored 3 goals in the space of about 30 minutes. You know, and he said that he wanted to leave the stadium. He was so disappointed by the lack of discipline on the pitch and how easy it was to score against us. So he was really frustrated at that point. Obviously, we conceded 3 goals in 13 minutes. Now, he then said his decision was finally made against Manchester United. So we recovered from 2-0 down to level the game at 2-2. If you remember, we scored 2 goals in the space of about 2 minutes. But obviously we then went on to lose that game 4-2. So again, Radrizzani at that point said his mind was made up. It's clear Radrizzani wanted him to go, but he consulted the board. I know Angus Kinnear and Victor Orta were obviously wanted to keep the faith. So when he went to the board and consulted them, they said, no, let's hold out. So they held out for another 2 matches. And obviously, we got beat 6-0 by Liverpool and a 4-0 defeat by Spurs. So, of course, at that point, after considering sacking him or looking at the team in Feb, then also the Man United game, which, to be fair, them 2 goals in as many minutes were amazing feeling, but we still lost, fair enough. To then think, right, we'll give him these next 2 matches, and then he went and conceded 10 goals. We can laugh about it now. He never had a chance, did he, really? So, so, of course, then Bielsa was kicked to the curb. Look, he said, I could see the players were emotionally and physically were at the end. I think we could all see that in the end. He did say, though, that they were all supportive of him. They were all behind him, which is nice to hear. Really nice to hear because of the legacy of what they've done together, of course, all that Bielsa squad. I think if we start with the same lineup we did against Cagliari on Saturday, tomorrow, it'll be the first time since Stoke that we don't have any of the Bielsa era players in the starting 11. You know, those that started really under him against Stoke. So that's quite interesting. But yeah, look, Radrizzani did say he's hopeful of meeting Bielsa again and wants to name the training ground after him. So it'll no longer be called Four Parch. It might be the Marcelo Bielsa training ground or whatever, which would be a nice fitting tribute to Bielsa. So yeah, look, I think Bielsa will have still kept us up, but you know, that's my opinion. But Jesse was always going to come in. He said that, you know, he spoke about Jesse Marsch and said that if Bielsa hadn't have signed his new deal after that first season in the Premier League, they'd have gone for Jesse at that point. So Jesse was always on the agenda. Obviously, they always wanted him and have tracked him and followed him for a while. So had he have not been at RB Leipzig and Bielsa had not extended his contract, they'd have moved for Jesse at that point. He said, look, I love the man. I think this year he will have time to show everyone he's a great coach. But the man has already completely got me. And it is. It's do or die time for Jesse, isn't it? The first 10 games are huge for him. The first 5, we've got quite a decent run. Chelsea in there, Brighton in there. But the rest, I think we can win. You know, on any given day, we should be at least trying to take points from that. So he's got a big start to the season. If after 10 games it's not going well, then, you know, we'll have to assess it at that point. But, you know, he loves the man. I think we all love the man, though. We can all see he's great with the players and he's great when he speaks. Maybe sometimes he speaks too much. But, you know, no, Andy, it's not because of the 49ers pushing for a Yank manager. It's not for an American manager, sorry. I think, you know, the Victor Orta is a massive fan of Jesse. I think we read too much into that. We'll talk about the ownership as well. Now, he spoke about league games. I think me and him are quite on the same lines with regards to the league games because he said the target is between 10th to 14th. If we're lucky, close to 10th. If we aren't lucky, close to 15th. If you could give me 10 to 15th, I'd snap your hands off. I think there's loads of teams vying for them 10 to 15th positions. I think you're looking at Leicester, you're looking at Villa, you're looking at Newcastle, you're looking at Leeds, Crystal Palace. There's loads of clubs, but I think we could end up around 14th, 15th. I take that every day of the week, and that's his target. He said, I don't want any more heart attack risks. Well, what I would say to you, Radrizzani, in that respect is go get a bloody left back and go get a second striker. That'll stop you getting a heart attack, I can assure you. But he said, look, I don't have any doubts we will avoid a similar situation to last season. It's impossible, he says. Famous last words. But I think he is right. And maybe that's why they've been a little bit more lax with the striker and left back option if they feel that the club can get through August with a fully fit Bamford and Firpo comes back and does well. You know? Jamie Lowe said, what happened to going big the third season? That's true as well. Let's not forget that. That was something that was peddled out, actually, and something Phil said a number of times that was always the aim, to go big in the third season. And people say we have gone big. We've gone and spent 100 million, like people keep telling me. But let's not forget, we've also recouped that money back in from Phillips and Raphinha. So have we gone as big as we'd have liked? Then we spoke about the transfers. So he spoke about Raphinha. He said Raphinha was always on the cards because we needed to fund incoming transfers. So there you go straight away. They need to sell players in order to buy, which is fine. I understand it, you know. He said Phillips to City was different. I found quite interesting. He said he didn't want to sell him. Okay. I'm not sure I quite agree. I don't know if whether or not that's rhetoric to the fans. I didn't want to sell Phillips. I'm not sure I quite agree. Because I'd advocate Phillips didn't really work in the system. I think we can all say that. And I'd argue that Adams and Rocker will work better than Calvin, just my opinion. But then Phillips apparently came to him and said, you know, he wanted to move to the Etihad, which again, I'm totally fine with it. And Lee, I agree with you. Let me just say, I enjoyed the interview as well. It was pretty candid. I think sometimes he speaks too much. You know, he said that we were going to aim for Europe and that, all this sort of stuff. You know what I mean? But yeah, I'm not saying that I wouldn't rather have Radz. I love what Radz has done. I love what Radz has done. Even just going to Ellen Road, it's a totally different kettle of fish. Look at the club. You've got over 200,000 members. They're going to increase the ground, all that sort of stuff. But it doesn't mean that we can then just blindly go on and say, right, you're not allowed to question or criticize anyone. Do you know what I mean? No one is exempt from that. I agree with you. Give me Radz all day, every day of the week. I'm not disagreeing with you there. Not disagreeing with you. So, yeah, Calvin wanted to go to the Etihad. Radrizzani didn't want to let him go. He said he decided to go, and clearly to me it was his ambition to play at that level. You can't. Jack says, we love a smoke screen. Maybe he's indicating no transfers to then. No, I mean, I don't see that as being a viable thing, but yeah. I don't know. Look, I mean, Abel, I don't think, like I said, Victor Orta has tracked him. Nothing to do with the Americans for me, but you know, everyone has a difference of opinion. He was then asked if he's weaker because, as I said to you yesterday, the rhetoric outside of Leeds United is that we're going to go down and struggle because we've lost our two best players. But actually, you know, the squad's better overall. And Radrizzani said that, and again, it's something I agree on him with. He said, are we weaker without Phillips and Raphinha? And he said, no. We've lost two champions, he said, two big players, but we've got 6 good players in the door, you know, which I think we have. Yeah. I do think we have got that. You know, we needed more solidity, more options and a bigger squad. We've got that. Yeah, he said, so 6 good players, in my opinion, makes a difference rather than 2 big players. I agree with him. As well. He said, I might be wrong, but this is my conviction. I think the pitch we will show it. And I agree with that as well, right? And I could be wrong, and I could be wrong on this transfer thing. But that's my conviction, like my man says at the time. Yeah. And that's why everyone outside of Leeds United keeps saying that we're going to go down because we've lost our best 2. But we've actually improved the squad and the options, and they fit Jesse's system. You know, he then spoke about the stepping stone as well. And this is why we stayed in that CDK hunt. And I understand this message as well, because he said these 2 deals, Raphinha and Phillips, are important, not only to give us the opportunity to buy. So again, listen to what he's saying. These 2 deals to Raphinha and Phillips are important, not only because they gave us the opportunity to buy, i.e., if we don't sell them, we don't buy. Yeah, that's what that's telling you. We had to sell in order to buy, which I know a lot of clubs do, but it's when people tell me that, no, there's loads of money there. You know, we've got this. We haven't even, you know, we've got 0 net spend or 1 million or whatever it is. Do you know what I mean? So, yeah, he said not only did they give us the opportunity to buy, but also to be perceived by other talented players as a destination they can go to before a big club, i.e. a stepping stone. He said that's what we need to be now. And I said that before, and loads of people hammered me for that, but I'm okay with that as well. Yeah? I'm okay with that as well, to understand where Leeds United are currently in their trajectory. That's why we become an attractive option, because he said the fact you can come here, play for 2 or 3 years and go to Madrid or Barca or Manchester City, that is something to be proud of. We need to be realistic. We cannot be at that level. I agree with you, Mickey. Not forever. No, of course not forever. Of course not forever. But that's where we are now. And I don't understand when people get frustrated about that. You know, it's like when people didn't, sorry to bring it up, but it's like when people didn't want to take Conor Gallagher because they were like, we're improving Chelsea's player. Nah, sack that. No, that's where we are. That's where we are. You know, players will come and go. CDK would have come to Leeds. He would have smashed it and then moved on. What's happened is he's gone straight to a big club because Milan are big, Champions League, etc. You know what I mean? So I understand Radrizzani's thinking about all that, you know, that we are a stepping stone currently, and it becomes an attractive prospect. He spoke more in detail about Raphinha as well and said we made the deal with Chelsea. You know, again, remember, people who were saying that he didn't want to go to Chelsea, he didn't want another Premier League club, or he turned them down. He didn't, man. He was open to that move, you know, and Radrizzani said that, yeah. He said, you know, he was open to listening to offers from Premier League clubs, and Chelsea was his favourable option. But he said then Barcelona influencers convinced the player to wait until they could find a solution. Deco, right? It's a bit like CDK. If Leeds United had not wasted time and Radrizzani had gone over to Bruges, maybe they'd have got it done. He said that. But by giving AC Milan time, they were already, you know, preparing for that. They were preparing for that. Do you know what I mean? So maybe we waited, you know, a little bit too long, just hoping that AC Milan couldn't sort it. Obviously, Deco kept saying to him, you know, you wait time, you know, wait time. Don't go to Chelsea. Don't go to Chelsea. You know. So that's how that happened. But Radrizzani actually said he felt gutted because he said he had to go back to Todd Bowley and say, I'm sorry. You know, he wants to go to Barca. He said, I felt bad because we'd agreed a deal. And of course, they'd have preferred him to go to Chelsea, etc. You know, just for the money thing. Like, it was quite interesting that Radrizzani said, they said, are you worried about dealing with Barcelona? And he said, I'll let you know on September the 1st. So that's when that money's supposed to drop clearly. And I know Leeds United have put a clause in there that says that if they don't pay up on that date, there's a 10 million fee. But not only that, Barca will have to go to tribunals and all sorts. There was a load of madness coming out about they were trying to offer us take the player and pay for him in January. There was all sorts that they tried. So the club did really well in that respect, you know, of putting their flag in the sand and saying nah, you know. But, you know, Radrizzani spoke about agents having the power, etc. But that's been the rhetoric since forever. That'll never change. That'll never change. Then he spoke about recruitment. Okay, so he spoke specifically on Charles De Ketelaere and said he's the one that got away. Radrizzani told The Athletic that Leeds were in agreement with Club Bruges over a 33.5 million fee for De Ketelaere. And at one stage, the decision between Leeds was 50-50. That's what I mean. They were never going to sit in there if they weren't going to get the player. And Radrizzani said he was the icing on our cake, the special player. Again, how I read into this, remember, yeah, he said we wanted 6. We had to sell players in order to fund it. You know, we've been able to buy players. We wanted 6. We missed out on one. Of course, JB and that were thrown in there and Sonny Perkins. But in terms of first team options, we wanted 6 and CDK was the jewel in the crown. We haven't been able to get CDK. Are we going to go out and splash out for another jewel in the crown for a Martin Terrier who's 25 that ain't got great big real sale value? I'd argue not. This is what I'm saying. This is how I read into it now, you know? This is how I read into it now. So he was the icing on the cake that they've missed out on. He said, we're active. Now, this is where people will come back at me, you know, and that's fine. He said, we are active in the market. But says the hunt for an alternative to De Ketelaere is considering the need to let Joe Gelhardt play and flourish. So this is, again, comes back to De Ketelaere is a special talent. We were okay bringing him in and maybe him stifling Joffrey because of how big of a talent he was and the potential resale value, etc., etc. But now we're saying, oh, we might not go because we'll stifle Joe Gelhardt's playing time, which is fine. I understand it. So I don't believe we're as active from that. You know, from that. He says, and then he doubles down on that, right? By saying, I have a lot of confidence in Joffrey and Patrick Bamford coming back this season. But we are actively monitoring, discussing with Jesse and Victor. Okay, so they are looking, okay, maybe if a deal comes available, we'll get it done. Look at Raphinha, it came available. Look at Dan James, it came available. But Callum Owendo can be got now. You know, Martin Terrier probably can be got now. There's other players that can be got now and they're not pushing the button. You know, he's got confidence in Joffrey and Bamford coming back this season. So he doesn't want to then go out and spend because he's got confidence that they'll come good. But in August, if it doesn't come good, then maybe we'll address it. I don't know. He said, we don't have to do a deal at any cost. We don't have to do a deal at any cost. Said Charles De Ketelaere was a special player. We were all in agreement to make a big effort. With other players, unless we're convinced 100% that we improve, we don't move. So that's saying that, right? So they're not 100% on Cali. They're not 100% on Martin Terrier. Maybe with Martin Terrier, it's his age profile and the fact that he's only had one profitable season. Maybe with Cali Mwendo, they're just not sure he can translate to the Premier League, and there'd be a resale value in, not a resale, a buyback clause that they don't want to buy into. A number of different permutations. But it's clear they're not 100% convinced, whereas with CDK, they were 100% convinced. So he said, we do not have to do a deal at any cost unless we're convinced. So it's all good scouring the market. But for us fans, we would say just bring in an option. Doesn't have to be. I remember Bielsa getting battered a lot of the time for people saying, he doesn't have to improve our first team. He doesn't have to improve our first team. Just improve the options. Yeah, he used to get battered for that. And that's what I'd like to see us do now. That's why I'm okay with a Shea Adams and a left back coming in on loan with a view to a permanent potentially, because it gives us options. Yeah. But if it's not going to improve us, we're not going to move. I think if Bamford's fit and scoring, we don't move. I think if Firpo is ahead of schedule and Pascal does okay there, we don't move. If Morton, Gibbs White or Pedro Neto crucify Strauch at the weekend, then we might look at it. Do you know what I mean? We'll have to wait and see. He said for Jack Harrison, which is good to hear. Jack Harrison's going nowhere. Absolutely not. There is no way Jack, there is no way Jack goes. Jack is staying here. Which is good. Which is good. On the ownership model that we currently have, he said there's no need to change. Whether you agree or disagree with that, he says, I'm happy. I dream to bring this club to play in Europe, and then I'm happy to leave. Be worth some money then, won't it? I'm just saying. So we've still some work to do. We are very good friends with the 49ers. They are a solid partner. They let you work in peace and they are supportive. In this moment, there is nothing under discussion. They have, as you know, an option to take a majority in 2024. Maybe before or at that moment, something will be discussed. At this moment, we are super happy. So there you go. And I think in order for us to go mad, maybe it does need someone to be the sole proprietor, because at the minute it's 50-50. It's a 50-50 split, near enough. So would you, like, if you owned a house with your mate and they needed to be work done, would you be happy to just bang your money in and him still get the rent? Because you can put the rent up to $750 because you put a conservatory on it, but you've spent all the money on the conservatory. You get your mates taking the cash out. You'd be like, no, contribute towards the conservatory, bro. I know that's a mad analogy, but you see what I'm saying? So maybe they're at that impasse. I will show the shirt in a bit. Just let me. I'm on a roll here. So he did say that Radrizzani accepts that neither him nor the 49ers have the financial might to match that of Europe's most powerful teams, but he aims to push Leeds' annual turnover over the 250 million mark. Therefore, having more resources to be a more prominent fixture in the Premier League and moving towards, European spots. And he says hitting that will partly rely on expanding Ellen Road in order to take that next step. We understand a lot of clubs do it. You improve the stadium, you try and take that next step with the increased revenue, right? So he wants to increase the capacity from 36 closer to 60, 55, we're told, right? So I said, aside from the commercial benefits, it would also satisfy a season ticket waiting list with more than 20,000 names on it. Yeah. So there you go. He said they've produced architectural drawings and completed a feasibility study. So he reckoned that the estimated cost of the upgrade would be around about 100 million. That will do that. But progress has been made in securing the funding. So he said, now we can move on. Angus has initiated some activities to finance the project. It will be over 100 million to renovate the West Stand and build it to a 55,000 capacity. We're going step by step, but hopefully we move soon with a financial partner. So at some point, the stadium will improve, at which point, more revenue comes in, and then we start to splash more cash, perhaps, or maybe it gets pocketed. I don't know. There's the kit anyway, for those that want to see it. It is quite nice, actually, isn't it? There's about as far as I can stand up without you seeing it. Yeah, it's nice. It's blank on the back for your shirt and number, but I don't do that. But yeah, it's nice. It's nice. So yeah, that's the interview in all its entirety. I'm not convinced we'll get deals done. I hope I'm wrong. Of course, we will bring in a goalkeeper, which is fine, but they're not first teamers. It don't really matter, does it? Like, I think we all wanted Ben Foster, but Robles is a bit meh, but it doesn't matter anyway. It's goalkeeper, then he'll be on nothing, 20k or something like that. No, I don't think they'd change the stadium name. If he does that, it's criminal, man. Oh, now we've already had like the Gaviscon badge and all that sort of stuff. Imagine if he changed the name, that'd be brutes. I don't think that'll happen. The club won't let it happen. I don't think the supporters trust, etc. won't let it happen. I don't think he's that wild. But yeah, so it'd be interesting. Like I say, I think this all boils down to how Leeds United do in the first month. It all boils down to how Leeds United do in the first month. If Leeds United struggle, Bamford isn't scoring or breaks down, they will get a striker. I think this is my thought process, and they'd be right to do that. Yeah. Abel says, you did not hear my expectation for the team this season. I did a preview, mate, on Wednesday with the midweek fix crew with all my predictions for Leeds United. 14th I went for, but if you want to check that out, do. I think we'll be all right. Like, I know this might come across a little bit negative, but I can only give you this is my thoughts when I read between the lines. So I think the only issue or the only situation we get a striker is if we don't do well and Bamford isn't firing or is breaking down, right? The club will have to. The club have to at that point. Villa Martin says Radz isn't... Nah, it's BS, mate. He gives it away. Don't worry about that. He likes to talk. In terms of the left back, again, I don't think we're going to do one. Everything came out to say we weren't going to get one. Then Firpo got injured and Jesse said we're assessing it. Maybe Jesse spoke and he shouldn't have. And then we were all like, oh, we're going to get a left back. But now that Firpo's ahead of schedule and we're hearing about how Strout does really, really well there and can give us stuff from set pieces, etc., that rhetoric's changed. I don't think we get a left back. I'd like us to, but I don't think we will, unless a loan becomes available. I'd take Kennedy from Chelsea. I would. He can play attacking as well. Like, I would. He'll be available. I know Mark used the loan market. That was another thing. Like, Bielsa didn't use it. I know we're using it to loan players out, but we didn't really loan in. And still, nothing's changed really in that respect. Everything that Bielsa got battered for, it's not changed. Like from an admin side and a transfer policy side and all that, it's exactly the same, people. It is exactly the same. Like, I know, okay, you might not like you did like the football. If you didn't like the football, I don't know what you're smoking, but you might not like how open we were or whatever. But in terms of everything outside of it, it's the same. It is the same. Yeah, so I don't think we'll get left back, whatever the weather. Unless, yeah, exactly. Animally, he's not been given a squad number. Kennedy is available. Exactly. Just do it. But again, this comes back to Radrizzani's point about improving. Like, I got battered for saying Nuno Tavares, for example. He's rubbish, worse than third, but it's an option. Just get an option. We don't have an option. We're going to play a centre back there because Firpo will get suspended and will get injured because history tells us that. Of course, history can change, but most recent history shows us that. Bamford will break down at some point as well. My genuine worry is, and I tell you, if I do a video at that point, it will be done. Imagine we start really well, yeah? What about we start really well, yeah? The window shuts. It's September the 1st. We come back. Bamford gets injured, yeah? We can't buy a striker. Firpo's out. Oh, my God. I said right at the top of the video, and I'll say it again, and I hate to do this but if Dan James starts up top for us at some point, we're up shit creek. I'm free falling if I'm being negative. I'm sorry. But I'm just saying about the current situation. Do I think we'll be all right? Yeah. Do I think 14th? Yeah. All this sort of stuff. I just think we're not learning from our mistakes. We're not learning from our mistakes because I feel that we're going to run the risk again. And then, like Mark Story says, it's going to happen. That's the Leeds way because that's what happened last season. And I think, like I've said to you, we have to remember, this is what you have to have in your mind, right? The weakest area in Bielsa's system was through the middle, and we didn't address the centre midfield issue. And we all said, oh man, we need a centre midfielder. We didn't get one for 9 windows. Then the weakest area in the Jesse Marsch system is your fullbacks. And we're not addressing it. We've let one go in Leaf. I'm not saying he were good enough, but we've took $1 million. We've took $1 million. Yeah, think about that. We'll take the money for Leaf and not get another left back. I know he's not thinking, but that's the point I'm making, yeah? Is sell him, get the money, but not address it. You have to get a loan in for me, but I don't think they will. And I just don't see us getting a striker if they start well. And we might not need to. Listen, we could get to the end of the year and Bamford's in the England squad and he smashed it again. And Patrick says fullbacks are weak in most squads. No, I'm on about our system, no, bro. Our system, it's the weakest area. You know, you've seen pre-season, we know that. We know that's the weakest area. Yeah, Terry says CDK didn't want to come. That's not true, bro. It's not true. Like, that was the Rhetoric, and everyone's then going, we wasted our time. There were reasons that they waited there. Because remember, Radz said he was the cherry on top of the cake. They've not been able to put the cherry on top of the cake. And the only way they're going to spend big money again is if it's another cherry on top of the cake. Everything else is just little additions that they're not willing to do because it doesn't improve the first team, which is the same Rhetoric we heard from Bielsa that he got battered for. But it's the same thing. True or not? It's true. It's true, man. Yeah, man. It's what it is, isn't it? We'll have to wait and see. Fingers crossed it all goes well, man. Fingers crossed. Listen, I'll be live in the morning. What I'm going to start doing, because I'm doing the watch-alongs, of course, we'll have a watch-along on the channel, be live, probably about 2:30. I'm going to do my previews on the morning, like of the morning of the game, whenever we play the game, probably about 10 o'clock, maybe 9 a.m., 10 a.m., do live match preview on the day of the game. So join me for that. I've already done my notes. I'm already prepped for the Wolves preview. Robert says, you know that you're not using your green screen. Yeah, I can see that, bro. I can see that. I'll tell you why. Like, this is why. Because obviously it's a green screen and this is a mad colour. I disappear. I'm a ghost. If you've seen how high when he tries running through the car, I'm a ghost. Yeah, so that's my house, by the way. It's not really. I wish. Yeah, that's why, mate. And I wanted you to all see the glory of the shirt. So I will be live in the morning for a live match preview, yeah, before the game, yeah. So join me for that. I'm also live tonight. I'm live tonight because I do the Premier League games as well on the channel. So I'll be live at 7:45 for Arsenal versus Chelsea. Not Chelsea, Crystal Palace versus Arsenal. So I'm looking forward to that. And then we've got a watch along tomorrow. I'll have 2 on the Sunday with it being Super Sunday. So it's wall-to-wall football now. It's going to really, really ramp up. Like I say, I hope you like the press conference video that I decided to do this season. That's going to continue. We've got the Premier League preview and all that sort of stuff. So listen, subscribe to the channel if you can, and do put your notifications on, because in the morning, I think it'll probably be about 10 a.m. We'll discuss Leeds versus Wolves. I've done my notes. I've done all my homework on Wolves and what I think Leeds United will do, etc. So join me for that as well. And listen, thanks for your support on this. I know it has been a little bit downbeat and negative, but that's only my opinion from that. I think we'll be okay this season. Remember that. But yeah, that's how I read into the interview. Now, of course, Radrizzani could sign him, a left back and a centre forward, and I look silly. But that's fine. That's part of it. I stick my head above the parapet and everyone will go, oh, yeah. But it was the same last season. I remember, the first season under Bielsa that I used to say, Leeds are going up, and we'd lose. And then I'd have Leeds fans in my DMs saying, you're a clown. You said we'd win. You're a clown. It's the fact of it. And I'll get called a clown if we sign someone. But that's fine as well. That's what it is. Football's a game of opinion. Just don't be personal in that, man. Just don't be personal in that. That just gets you blocked. You know what I mean? That just gets you blocked. No one needs that. I prefer to have a nice discussion. You know what I mean? Yeah, and like you say, it'll all be good. All my thing is, of course, I think Dan Moylan says it from the square ball. You're at your most optimistic before the season starts, yeah. And we were on such an upward curve after all the signings, but then it's just started to go. And if we lose tomorrow, it'll be even. And if Pedro Neto kills Strauch from the right or Morgan Gibbs-White, we will all be saying, get a left back. It's facts. However, if it all goes well, this is the thing. Football's fickle. It swings and roundabouts. If it all goes well and Rodrigo scores, everyone will go to me, yeah, I told you. I said, yeah, you did. That's fine. But this is football, right? This is why we love it so much. It's why I love it. This is why I get to do content, because you watch it and come for my opinion and all that sort of stuff. So I'm really appreciative, of the support. Please do smash a like on the video on the way out. Subscribe to the channel. Make sure you get your notifications on, because as I said, let me just check my analytics for something for when people are live. Where's the Radz interview, mate? It's on YouTube, actually. You can get it on YouTube on The Athletic. If you put The Athletic, it's on YouTube. It's going to be on their podcast. There's a written article. There's loads out there. So you'll be able to check it. Saturday, when's viewers normally on? From about 9 a.m. So, I'll probably do it from about 9, 10 a.m. And then we'll be live. I might do something for the lineups at 2. And then obviously we'll discuss, we'll do the game from about 2:30, 2:45. And then we'll have a post-match and everything, man. So it'll be good. So it's going to be wall to wall. Thanks always for winning, for watching. Winning tomorrow, yeah. And I'll see you in a bit. Thanks as always. Peace out, man. I love you all. And I'll see you in a bit. Peace out, man. Come on, Radrizzani. Spend your money, you gimp there.